I think almost any week I could stand up at the Bimah and say this has been an eventful week. I think for the Jewish people in Canada, even more so this week. It's such an important time when our attention is drawn so much to a moment, even if that moment is significant, to remember that our lives in Canada and our life in general is a marathon, not a sprint. That it is more about the willingness over the long term to do hard work and to stand up for communities who need and deserve strength. It's more important to be there consistently with a reasoned and thoughtful and significant voice than merely to grab headlines for a moment or two. We're privileged to have with us this morning Justice Harry LaForme, who is one such voice, who has represented the Indigenous communities of Canada in our legal system as he has broken barriers in his career and taken a place not only on Indigenous issues, but issues that matter to all of us. And all those issues, Indigenous issues likewise, do and should matter to all of us, as should issues of our Jewish community. Justice LaForme has been an ally and an advocate for his own community, for the Jewish community, for the meaning of indigeneity, both here in Canada and in the land of Israel. And it's an honor and a privilege to welcome him and Janice here today, and to welcome Justice LaForme forward to share words with us this morning.
Okay. Before I begin, can I just say that Janice and I, my partner, were heartbroken again yesterday by the arson attack on Temple Emmanuel Beth Shalom. I want you all to know that we grieve along with you. We wish that it were different, especially in Canada, and we are saddened, and I hope you will accept our company while you grieve. Anin, hello, shalom. First, let me say you are welcome as valuable treaty partners to the treaty lands of the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas of the Credit, my First Nation, and the traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee peoples. These lands were always governed by treaties of peace and friendship, including a dish with one spoon and the covenant chain, which date back to before settlement of Europeans. They are a covenant to both peace and shared stewardship of the land, values that resonate deeply with Jewish people. The acknowledgement reminds the Jewish people, Tikkun Olam, that teaches that our responsibilities here on earth are grounded in respect for others and to strive to make the world a better place for everyone living under the sun. The acknowledgement reminds Indigenous people, Mabit Madziwan, living well, and the interconnectedness of all living things, the natural environment, and the Creator. These belief systems are preserved through rigorous framework of oral tradition and Indigenous legal orders. Key among these is the 7 grandfather teachings: love, truth, wisdom, humility, respect, courage, and honesty. And the great law of peace that emphasizes reason, not force, to assure the primary objectives of righteousness, justice, and health for all. Although many of these treaties predate Confederation and Canada, they are foundational, have constitutional character, and are of legal force and application today. Our courts have said so. Time limits me from sharing with you all that I wish to share, but let me tell you this. Canada is a colonial country. Israel is not. About 1 year, I love it. About 1 year ago, I came across a post on LinkedIn that was a video of a young non-Jewish woman who identified 7 indicia of colonization, a colonial nation. 1, language replacement, language suppression. 2, religious imposition and forced or incentivized conversion. 3, population displacement and settler colonization. 4, foreign governments. 5, economic exploitation. 6, legal and social hierarchies favoring the colonizer. Cultural erasure and appropriation. Canada and its indigenous people have experienced them all. The Jewish people have experienced them all. But again, they don't apply to Israel, as imperfect as it may be. Jews are indigenous to Israel. We hold much in common, as can be seen from the acknowledgement I opened with. Indigeneity is strongly linked to land with a historical continuity that has seen expulsion, dispossession, and marginalization of the indigenous people. Indigeneity is demonstrated by historical, collective continuity with a distinct ethnic identity, language, culture, rituals or traditions, economic, social, legal, and religious and spiritual belief systems that predate subsequent invaders or colonizers. The connection to the land is deeply ingrained in Israel identity, and with many Jews, it is central to their identity. In my view, Israel is the product of the greatest decolonization project in modern history, and this fact does not make it a colonial entity. The indigenous people of Israel have achieved what we indigenous people in Canada aspire to, namely Zionism. Zionism is described as self-determination and self-governance of a people in their ancestral lands. Canada is ours. We share in common historical and current instances of grave injustice, violence, bigotry, and even genocide. The Holocaust for the Jewish people and the Indian residential school system, which lasted for over 130 years, ending in 1997, and other colonial practices for Indigenous peoples of Canada. In 1910, Canada's Deputy Superintendent General, Department of Indian Affairs, Duncan Campbell Scott, responding to the appalling death rate of Indigenous children in Indian residential schools and calls for change, stated, quote, "This alone does not justify a change in the policy of this department, which is geared towards the final solution of our Indian problem," end of quote. And as you know, the Nazis aggressively deployed the term final solution, the phrase Canada used in the 1910s and the Nazis in World War II have been knowingly today adopted. Today, throughout our country are signs and chants that include "There is only one solution, intifada, revolution," globalization and intifada, by any means necessary, and of course, all forms of resistance are justified. Amsterdam, Washington, Boulder, Colorado, Manchester, Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal, Bondi Beach, Golders Green, Zurich, and elsewhere have revealed the falsity of assertions that they are benign, peaceful calls for change. They are not. The calls for death of Jewish people are unequivocally anathema to the 7 sacred teachings, the great law of peace, and are contrary to the original settlement that became Canada and the treaties of promise and respect. As Anishinaabe, they take me back to our history marked by the death of more than 6,000 Indigenous children and the murder of 6 million Jews in the Holocaust. The Islamist strategists correctly believe that their ideology-driven false narratives appropriating Indigenous social justice language would resonate and given traction with the academically ignorant and the academically sinister in Canada. After all, Canada is an admitted colonial settler state. The Islamist extremists are weaponizing Indigenous culture, our shared history, and reconciliation or decolonization, efforts led by Indigenous people against Jewish Canadians, Zionists, their allies, and Israel. It is cultural appropriation and blasphemy of the highest order. It is racist, not just towards Jews, but towards Indigenous people as well. Consequently, opponents of Islamist strategists, people like me, you and me, should look to the foundational treaties that are grounded in Canada's Constitution. The treaties of peace and friendship govern all relationships and not just the relationship between the Crown and Indigenous people. They are binding on anti-Semitic, the anti-Israel, the anti-Zionists, and the pro-Palestinian individuals who hijack Indigenous tradition and reconciliation efforts to advance these narratives and ideologies of hate. I encourage lawyers combating anti-Zionist, anti-Semitic hate to consider and incorporate constitutionally recognized Indigenous law and legal principles in their legal approaches and strategies. Today's environment of hate requires boldness and creativity. Indigenous law and legal principles are more arrows in the lawfare quiver. And judges love novel, creative, and principled legal arguments. I know, because I was one for almost 25 years. Jewish and Indigenous people share 2 powerful, lifelong affirming characteristics that have ensured their survival: hope and resilience. Hope launched the birth of a nation in 1948, Israel. The Jews, Indigenous people of Israel, live because of hope. Hatikva comforted the inmates of the death camps. Hope was the light that broke through the shroud of the Shoah. Hope is determined resilience. Jewish people and indigenous people are resilient, determined people full of hope. We are survivors. We will survive these dark times. As peoples and as distinct nations, we will survive for thousands of years to come. Hope and resilience are sacred obligations we owe to the 7 generations who came before us and to the 7 generations who come after us. They are moral imperatives. Make no mistake, we are facing serious threat. But this is not new. We overcame them in the past. We will overcome them again. Indigenous people in Canada are well versed in being let down by government and the amorality of the electeds. Our current Prime Minister has profoundly disappointed us with or without him, we will move forward during these dark times. I stand before you on the land of my ancestors to say that the Prime Minister what the Prime Minister should have said. Anti-Zionism is a libel-driven hate movement that incites violence and the targeting, exclusion, and marginalization of Jews in the diaspora, and has as its ultimate goal wiping Israel off the face of Mother Earth and the death of all beings within it. There, what should have been said has just now been said. Hope is trusting the promise of God, the promise God made through the prophet Isaiah. Quote, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." End of quote. Well, I have hope. I will take God and his righteous right hand anytime over the Prime Minister of this land. Hope brought us here together. Hope will move us forward. You are not alone, ever. Me and mine stand with you. Miigwech, shalom, all the best.
This is not a common thing to have.
Justice LaForme, let me just, again, first of all, thank you for welcoming us as partners on your Indigenous land. And for, as you said so clearly, saying those things that in our day, by those who most need to say them, are rarely spoken. So thank you for doing so and for your ongoing commitment to indigeneity, to the value and the foundation that it provides for your people, for our shared values, and the hope for a future of blessing. And thank you so much for coming and being with us today, and for the ongoing work that you do to move our shared values back to the front of Canadian conversation.
Thank you, and I love you.
Thank you so much.